What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So we have got about 70 miles on this motor so far, and we got a few slight issues we got to work out. So the first most important thing that I need to fix is the brakes. So the booster has been acting a little weird, the vacuum assist. It'll work initially, and then if I let off the brake and step on the brake again, it'll be completely hard and it really won't stop good. So that is the most important thing we need to fix. So we're going to dive into it right now. I've already checked the booster itself, and it's holding a vacuum. I can leave it all night long and I'll pull the vacuum line off of it and I'll get a massive airflow of vacuum coming out of that booster. So I know that's holding a vacuum. I know it's not leaking, and it worked perfectly before we rebuilt this motor. So something else is going on. The next thing I'm going to check, which we're going to do right now, is make sure the vacuum pump is actually producing enough vacuum for this brake system. I haven't really noticed anything with the boost. It might be just a little bit laggy, but I haven't really gotten into it. I haven't laid into the throttle, so I don't know how the boost is responding, but the brakes take a lot more vacuum than that little actuator for the turbo does. So we're gonna dive into this right now and check the vacuum of that pump. So what I'm using is just this little cheap brake bleeder, and it has this gauge on here and it shows the inches of vacuum. So we're going to be looking at this outside ring, and we should be getting around 25. So I got the pump here. That vacuum line runs over here, and then it tees off from that splitter right there at the vacuum pump, and it just tees in before that check valve. So it's fired up, and see how much vacuum this pump is actually putting out. Alright guys, there it is. So we are way low on vacuum. Like I said, it should be around 20, 25, and we are below 10. Alright, I don't know if you could hear me. So we are below 10. We're probably 8 inches of vacuum, and we should be at like 25. So something's going on. I assume it's a vacuum pump. I actually had that apart and I resealed it, made sure it wasn't leaking, clean everything. Maybe I didn't get something back together right. I don't know. So we'll have to pull that vacuum pump off real quick, and actually have another one we could swap on too. So either way, we'll get it figured out. So let's rip this pump off, see what's going on with the pump. Alright, here's the pump, guys. So to take it apart, just 1, 2, 3 bolts, pull it apart. Alright, got this thing apart, and I really don't see anything out of the ordinary. It looks pretty good. It's clean. Every hole is free. There's nothing blocking that hole at all. So I'm not really sure what's going on. So I'm just going to swap this other pump I have right here onto the truck, start it up, and see if that changes anything. If it does, I guess we'll just use this pump, and not really sure what can wear out on these. I mean, all the cases, everything looks really good, so not sure, but let's swap it on, see if we get vacuum with this pump. Alright, we got the vacuum pump back on, the new one, so let's fire it up and see what our vacuum's at now. Alright guys, we are still low. So not quite sure what's going on there. All right guys, I think I found the issue. So when it was idling, I had a lot of leakage out of the vent line out of my N75, the turbo actuator, and it shouldn't be venting like that. And when I blow through it, I get flow through both ports on that N75. So kind of strange how that just randomly goes bad like that. So either way, we're gonna swap it out, see if that fixes the problem, and if it does, then I guess we're good. Got the new N75 chilling down there. Got it plugged in, so it's fired up. See if that changes anything. There we go. We got vacuum. Well, that's certainly a little strange. We got full vacuum now. Not sure how that just randomly goes bad. I never had any issues before I rebuilt this motor. All I did with that is unbolt it, bolt it back on. So either way, we found the problem. So I'm gonna put my other vacuum pump back on, get this all tidied up, and we go for a drive and see if the brakes work again. Well guys, it's all back together and we got full vacuum. So I think there's one thing we can all take away from this is don't assume parts are good just because it used to work, or say even brand new. There's bad parts coming right out of the factory. So kind of strange. Maybe it was kind of just on its way out and I never noticed it. I did notice kind of a little lagginess with the turbo, with the boost, and the boost coming on slow. And before I rebuilt the motor, I haven't really messed with it a whole lot yet, but I figured that was probably just being a bigger turbo, have a little more lag. But I mean, it makes sense with low vacuum, it's not closing the vanes to build your low end boost. So I don't know, maybe it will have better power now, better power range anyway. So we got to take it out for a drive, make sure the brakes work. They already feel better just sitting at idle, hitting the pedal. They already feel a lot better. So we need to bring it out for a drive, see what we got. Alright guys, this thing is building boost way sooner than before. Just cruising, I'm actually, 3 or 4 pounds. Before I was at nothing. It wouldn't build boost till you're actually like accelerating, and it's smoking way less. So I think it might have been the problem all along. Maybe that N75 was just bad from the get-go. So I think we're gonna be good from now. Let's go rip it a little bit and see how it does. crap, guys, this thing has never run this good. Pretty sure that N75 was bad from the start, and I don't know how I never noticed it with the brakes especially, but this thing has never built boost that low. I mean, between shifts before, it would just lag and just blow out a bunch of smoke. Doesn't do that at all anymore, so very, very happy about that. Alright guys, the next thing we got to figure out on this truck is the pump is losing its prime after it sits for, I don't know, a couple days. And I have these transparent lines on and I can see through right here. The feed line has got a lot of air and the return is basically empty, so it's draining the return line, and I'm pretty sure it's pulling all the way from the pump and it drains, just slowly drains back into the tank. So I have a leak somewhere. It's not leaking externally, it's not leaking fuel out, instead it's sucking air in. So I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's something on the return line that's leaking, because the feed line is pressurized from my lift pump and I have pressurized it and I cannot find any sort of leak. So a common problem on these is that thermostatic T on the return line on top of that filter leaks and creates the same exact symptoms. So I bought a new filter and a new T right here, and there's a couple O-rings on that T I replaced. So I'm going to throw this in And the only other thing that I messed with is those lines that come up from the tank and they're connected behind that filter. So I'm going to pull those off and put new clamps on there. Make sure that everything is tight, clean, and sealed up. And then we'll try it again. Alright guys, this is my return line. So the factory hard line is a 1/4 inch. The Volkswagen's a 5/16, that's why I have that little adapter there. But I'm switching all my clamps over to this crimp style. I feel like they seal a little bit better and they don't chew up the rubber. So we'll do that. We'll get the filter in there and see if it changes anything. Alright guys, we got the filter all hooked up, so I'm just going to cycle the key a few times, get that fuel pumped up, and hopefully bled out of the actual injection pump, and then we can start it up. And it, like I said, it takes like a day or two to actually drain back, so I won't know for a couple days if it actually fixed it, but we'll fire it up right now and see if there's any bubbles in it right away at least. Alright guys, I'm going to let this thing idle for a bit. I had a lot of air coming back through that return line back to the tank, so I'm going to let it idle till I'm positive there's no more air in that line, and then I'll turn it off and we'll see if we get any more air bubbles right away. Alright guys, hopefully that filter and thermostatic T will help fix that problem. It's got to be a really small leak. Like I said, it took a couple days for it to actually drain and suck in air into the injection pump somehow, some way. And like I said, I would have to cycle my lift pump just to get the fuel pumped back through the pump so it would start. So we'll give it just a couple days and then we'll fire it back up and see if that fixes our issue. So that's it for now guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.